Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry, I had a little glitch getting started. I'm a couple minutes late. A stream started on another segment of the channel. So hopefully you're all here. It looks like you can see me in the comments. Can you all hear me okay? I'm assuming yes, because I see lots of hellos. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are kicking off this week with a little creative manifesto session for the month of April. Now, for those of you that have not joined us yet for a live broadcast on this topic, each month, on the first Monday of every month, we like to kind of get things started by just setting a creative intention. And I have an exercise that we're going to do here in a second together. So if you're here right now watching, and I see so many of you are, we've got Karen and Diana and Marjan. Linda's here. Hey, Linda. Bonnie and Karen and Mary, a couple Nancys, Nancy Sparks, Nancy Palmer. We've got Rebecca and Steph, Missy, Evan, Linescapes from Berlin, Germany. Excellent. Celeste is here and Andrew. It is so awesome to see all of you. So what we're going to do today, I want you guys to grab a sketchbook if you have one handy. It can be a sketchbook that you're working in right now, or it can be a new one. So I'm on the last page of my current sketchbook. So I'm starting with a brand new one for this exercise. And this is a Stillman and Byrne beta series with really thick, juicy watercolor paper that I love. And grab something to write with or draw with, because you're going to need that here in a second. And I just want to talk to you about the idea of a creative manifesto. So one thing that's pretty common for a lot of us, creative individuals, is setting goals. And it's always fun to set creative goals, assign ourselves projects, get really passionate about things, and then tackle those goals. And usually on these exercises once a month, we sit down and we set a goal or a bit of a focus theme for ourselves. And one thing that I want to remind all of you about is, as you know, and you're probably very well aware, we're living in a really strange time right now. With the pandemic kind of looming overhead, it's kind of easy to get overwhelmed or get anxious. And I want to start this off by just reminding everyone that during this time, I think it's most important to be kind to yourself and be gentle with yourself. And I know, myself included, it's easy to go into times like this thinking, I have this huge list of projects, and now that I'm stuck at home, I need to accomplish all of them. I need to bake all the things, fix all the things at home, and do all sorts of creative projects that I've been putting off. And it's really easy to pressure yourself. So right now, I want to just remind everyone to be kind to yourself and don't assume that you have to crank out masterpiece after masterpiece just because you have a little more time to spend at home. So that's just something I want you to keep in mind as we do this exercise. So for those of you that are here and that have your sketchbooks and something to write with, what we're going to do is I'm going to set a timer here in a moment. And thank you, Karen said that's a good reminder, and I'm glad that she can relate to that as well. But before I get started, I want to show you some examples of what a creative manifesto can look like for different people. So for some people, a creative manifesto is quite literally writing out some intentions that you set for yourself. Nancy said it's like I'm in her head. I'm glad that I'm not the only one feeling these things. That actually makes me feel a lot better. But for a creative manifesto that we're going to be creating in our sketchbooks here in a moment, some people like to create a list. It's almost like a creative to-do list, or just some small intentions that you want to set for yourself for the month of April. Other people don't want to get that specific, and they just want to pick a theme word. Hey, Cynthia! Cynthia's hopping in here. So some people pick a word to maybe just describe what they want to focus on. Maybe it's an emotion or an idea. So for instance, Bonnie, who usually has joined me for many of these sessions, she actually for February, here's an example, just made a list of her goals for the month. And some of these are tasks that she's doing around her workspace. Some of them are specific projects. And then she's got some really cute little illustrations in here with kind of an overarching mantra of don't overthink stuff, which I think is great for a lot of us. So that's an example of what you could do for this exercise. And some people, so Linda, here's an example, just picked a word. So she picked a word to focus on for the month. And if you're not feeling up to creating a list for yourself or a set of intentions, sometimes just picking a focus word can be a really easy way to do this exercise and kind of ground yourself. So you could think about one word that you want to focus on for the month of April. So that could be, an emotion or an attitude that you want to try to maintain, or it could be something more specific, like color or watercolor or some medium or method that you want to dig into. So these are a couple different options, and what I want you to do right now is I want you to take out your sketchbook or whatever you're working in. And the point of this is to actually pick a page that is later on in your sketchbook. So I kind of like to go right in the middle. So I'm going to pick a blank page in the middle of my sketchbook. Allie just popped in, which is great. Allie, we are getting ready to do a little timed exercise for our creative manifesto. So what I want you to do with your sketchbook is to pick a page. And the idea of picking a page later on in your sketchbook is that one of my favorite things about this exercise is that you're kind of setting it up like a reminder for your future self. So you might say 10 pages from now or 15 pages from now. Pick a blank page, and that way what's going to happen is as you're working in your sketchbook, one of these days is going to come along where you open it up and there's your creative manifesto, kind of as like a little reminder. So I think this is kind of a fun way to do it, and some people have posted comments about getting to that page right when they needed it, right in that moment in time when they needed that little reminder, of their intentions, of their goals. For some of you that are a little more visual and need something kind of top of the mind, you can actually take it out of your sketchbook and tape it near your workspace. For some people that want to see their manifesto every day for the month, that's an option. However, I kind of like the chance involved of picking a random page later on in your sketchbook, and then one of these days that page will kind of find you, and it always serves as a nice little reminder of, a goal that you set for yourself. So for those of you that are here with us, that are just joining, I want you to take out your sketchbook and a pen, and I'm actually going to set a timer, and I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to set a timer for 4 minutes, and we're just going to kind of have this moment together to kind of kick off our week. It's a new day. We just started a new month last week, and we're going to start the month of April off with some creative goals. So what I want you to do is, just to reiterate, if you have your sketchbook out, I want you to pick a page, a blank page, that's maybe 10 days from now or 10 pages from now, maybe a little further if you draw a lot. And we are going to put our creative manifestos for the month of April on that page. So your creative manifesto, just to refresh, can look like a to-do list, like this example from Bonnie, where you kind of set some miniature goals for yourself for the month of April. Or it can be as simple as a word, something that you want to focus on, like what Linda created here for a previous month. So you can pick kind of your theme for the month and what you want that to be. And I want you to write these out, and you can use fun lettering, you can use whatever you have on hand, and you can even revisit it later to kind of embellish it or add color. But right now the point is to really just get our intentions and our goals on paper. So I want you to pick that page in your sketchbook, and hopefully you all are ready and you've got your materials gathered. And what we're going to do is I'm going to start a timer. So I want you to have your sketchbook out, your pen or pencil or whatever you're using ready. I'm using a Tombow brush pen because they make me feel fancy, the way that the flexible tip makes my letters look. I just love it. And that's what I'm going to use for mine. So I'm going to set this timer for 4 minutes, and I want all of you that are here with me to put that pen to paper on that page in your sketchbook, and I want you to write your goals out or your theme focus word for the month of April, okay? And usually after I do this, I feel better. I kind of feel a little more grounded and a little more settled. So my hope is that this exercise also does that for you. So I'm going to hit start on our timer. It is going, and I'm going to leave this right here. And now I'm going to write mine out, and you've got 4 minutes to write out yours. All right. And you can decide how you want to lay out your page. Sometimes it's nice to add some framing or add the date or just the name of the month. But you can do whatever you would like. I like to add a little border on my page. And some people like to use this opportunity to use some really fun lettering. Or you can just make it really simple, kind of like a to-do list. Looks like Ian is using his son's phone. That's great. He is watching from Lansing, Michigan, which is right up north. I'm in Columbus, Ohio right now. So right now we're just writing out our goals for the month of April, or our focus, our theme word. And I just want you all to keep in mind not to be too hard on yourselves. I think a lot of these goals can involve things that you want to think about, not just in your sketchbook and your art, but in your life. Because I think we could all use these gentle reminders, because things are a little stressful right now and kind of anxiety producing, if I'm being quite honest. So I'm going to pick my focus word. And I'm going to work on writing that out. Our timer has about 2.5 minutes left. Just heads up for anyone that's participating. I'm just writing out my theme word for the month of April and see where that gets us. And I hope that this is just giving you kind of a moment to reflect. Spend a few quiet minutes before you get started on your day or finish up your day, depending on what time zone you're in. For me, it's mid-morning, so my day is just getting started. And this is giving me kind of a meditative moment. And for those of you that are just popping in, we are spending a few minutes in our sketchbooks on a random page from the future, writing out our creative goals and our focuses for the month of April. These are things that we want to think about, keep in mind, and focus on for this month. We have about a minute left. And you can definitely revisit this later. Jazz it up, add to it, make it look nice. I'll probably embellish mine again. Just think of it like a fun surprise that's kind of waiting to remind you in a few days' time, a few weeks, whenever you reach this page. I think it's going to surprise you. Looks like Corinne is popping in as well. She said it's raining hard in Pasadena, which is funny because it's really sunny here. Usually Corinne probably has a lot more sun than we do in Ohio. Corinne, we're just writing out our creative goals, our intentions, and our focus words for the month of April. That's what we're doing right now. And this timer is going to go off any second now. I'll finish that up. Okay. Yes, and Christine looks like she's checking in from Virginia, which is great. Down south, I bet it's beautiful there. So I just finished with my focus word. I opted to do a word. I've been making lots of to-do lists for myself for work and for grocery planning since we're only going once a week. So picking one focus word for me felt a little bit better. So I chose the word space, which seems kind of odd, but for me, the word space as my focus for the month is really just to give myself space to have a little more freedom and flexibility with these expectations that I'm placing on myself and other people. So giving myself space to just take breaks when I need to. Maybe not focus on every minute being the most productive. And also giving space to the people that I love, as some of you might also be. I'm glad Corinne's word just popped into her head, which is great that it came to her. I also want to give other people space. I am currently sheltering in place in Ohio with my husband and our dogs, and my husband and I are both working from home. So I think it's nice to remind myself to give him some space too, because we're kind of just in each other's zone all the time. So that's kind of my reminder. And in terms of my art making, also give myself space to play with new things and not set such rigid expectations for myself. So if I just want to make a mess of color on the page in my sketchbook, that's great. I was being creative and I had a moment that day, and that's something I should be thankful for. So for me, my word is space. That's something that I want to focus on for the month of April. And I hope all of you were able to take a few minutes there, even though I was kind of blathering on. Yulia gave us a thumbs up. But I hope you were able to take a minute there and really think about what you want to focus on for the month of April. I know this month is pretty different for a lot of us everywhere in the world. I know March was also pretty different, but I think April is kind of ushering in a lot of changes that we're all living by and trying to respect and observe. And I think it's a really good time to do some reflection and think about what you want to focus on this month for yourself, and also just some things to kind of take your mind off of what is happening in the news right now. So I really thank all of you for tuning in and joining me right now. And for those of you that hopped in late, I would encourage you to either rewatch the video or take a few minutes of your own, set a timer on your phone, and just pick a page in your sketchbook, a few pages from now, and just write your creative intention for the month. And I think a lot of you will find that you will come to that page on a day when you really needed that reminder. I know that's happened to me, and that's happened to a lot of you that have shared this in the schoolyard. You guys happen upon that page, and sometimes it's like the perfect time to be reminded of that focus. So I hope that all of you can experience that. And thank you so much for tuning in. And for those of you that are in the schoolyard or on social media, you can tag Sketchbook School. We would love for you to share your creative manifesto with us. And I would love to see what you're working on, what you're focusing on for the month of April. It looks like Nancy is laughing about my word space because she's in an RV right now. So space is definitely limited for Nancy. Nancy might need to pick a different word, like patience or taking deep breaths, perhaps. But thank you, all of you, for joining. Cynthia, thanks for tuning in. And Stefan and everyone, that's fantastic. It was great to see all of you. Ian has a word, or Chris has a word, habit, which is a great thing to focus on when we're looking for routine and trying to give ourselves a sense of normalcy. So habit is a great word. But yeah, I encourage all of you to take a few minutes to do this if you were not able to do it with us, and share it in the schoolyard. And Cynthia, there is not a happy hour tonight for Sketchbook School, but I am putting one on the calendar for this week. Might do it on Friday, like a little Friday happy hour, where we will have a Zoom call and everyone can join and just work on creative projects together. So check out the details for that in the schoolyard. Looks like Suzanne just hopped on and Emma is saying thank you. And it's awesome to see all of you, and I hope that you have a great day and have a great month of April. We'll see you around at all of our other live events. Danny's going live today at noon right here on YouTube, so check that out. And I hope to see all of you around, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks.